The well-liked reality TV program is one thing. Pawn Stars did a fantastic job capturing viewers was the amazing variety of the remaining cast members of the program. The three main cast members were related via blood across 3 generations. The Corey Harrison, the youngest, is also known as Bigos, who has lost his grandfather, and Corey's father is looking to retire. Currently in the lead to take over from his father, who was in charge of the but going beyond gold and silver pawn shop. Corey's captivating on-screen persona encountered a number of personal difficulties and devastating catastrophes. Let's examine the hidden facets of life of Corey and provide you with an update on where he now appears on Pawn Stars. Offers a diverse and intriguing array of priceless historical artifacts, and the lively Corey is more than just a well-known figure. At this time, because of his perceptive knowledge, a large personality, charm, and ongoing presence at the store renowned throughout the world. Corey was born Harrison Richard Corey, April 27, 1983. His parents reside in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. Rick Harrison, Kim, and his grandfather Richard Benjamin Harrison was late, and they owned and operated the gold and silver pawn shop. Despite the fact that a lot hasn't been revealed regarding Corey's early years, it's renowned for having 5 other Adam and Jake, among other siblings. At the beginning of his career, Corey began working at the pawn shop owned by the family when he was at the age of 9. He possessed the same zeal as his dad when his grandpa initially unlocked a 300-foot used gold and shop selling silver coins on Las Vegas Boulevard southward in 1981. Following, his father and grandfather obtained their license and began selling cool sporting equipment and antiques in their shop, but jewelry turned out to be what, as time went on, they sold the most. Business expanded and gained notoriety in Las Vegas's business is expanding and more well-known, and it didn't last long before history took note of it. Channel and Pawn Stars did it. Began the show, which debuted in July 2009 because of Brent's suggestion. Colby and Montgomery benefit from surprising images of these pawn stores have distinctive individuals. They discovered near the Las Vegas, a gold and silver pawn shop. The rest is history, including the Vegas Strip. However, the majority of people pawn jewelry there. Pawn Stars patrons bring in all types of vintage items. The store has more of the Harrison has almost 10,000 things in stock. Family quickly became extremely well known due to the program, with a large number of viewers' positive evaluations and followers' desire for more. The show expanded and returned each in season 6. Corey and his father had some problems since Corey desired a larger. He even participates in the family company. Requested 10% of the company, or he was departing from the gold and silver pawn. Eventually, shop's father and granddad, who held and co-owned most of the business, agreed to provide him a 5% stake with the possibility of additional. Corey eventually accepted the agreement, and it presumes that his ownership of the business has expanded. Rick still possesses the majority of it, but Corey may eventually receive even more from his father. He will eventually have evidently shown some outstanding attributes in the daily operations of the company, such as Chumley, which is Harrison now feels like family after receiving the employment in the shop because of Corey when he was 21. And everyone who has observed the show would state with assurance that Chumley became one of the most fascinating and consequently crucial elements of the show. Corey, Rick, and Corey's pals. Over time, Chumley even appeared in their original form in the episode titled I Lost My Head in July 2014 in Vegas. They began. Pornography is a game show on the Rick, Corey, and Chumley of the History Channel were playing against the competitors to prevent them from winning money and other items from their store, in addition to showing up on well-known television programs. And what's not, Corey, he has become extremely proficient at evaluating, identifying, and dealing with cheaters. He ended up employing, firing, and having eBay clients managing the store and keeping an eye on. In fact, it was alleged that 30 staff that he has added additional items to the shop compared to any other worker there. When inquired about how he discovered the Corey shared some useful stuff, but they were awful. He had an incident that made him a wonderful lesson, and at 19, I believed I purchased 5 phony. Fortunately, I worked for Rolex watches. Dad, if not, I would lose my job after losing a significant amount of money. After you wouldn't repeat that error by saying he has witnessed some important things come outside of the unique items in the pawn shop: sports items, expensive jewelry, and celebrities. There were things in people's attire that just astounded Corey. He said, a man once arrived in a luxury vehicle that was laden with silver, worth a few bucks in the trunk. Millions of dollars there, he added. Given that their store located near the Vegas Strip, gamblers frequently appeared to pawn items to play games with more money. An excellent illustration was a man pawning his Ferrari Live at 700 in the morning. 8 human skulls to parrots that were obtained from Corey's dentistry school prudently chose not to take because of its tendency to cause legal issues. The pawn store has turned down its portion of strange objects based on his years of experience examining the history of the store via Corey's eyes. Can't be a terrible idea. A little information about his family from nothing to anything is a very quiet story. At a news conference, he was intriguing. Stated that his father, when they weren't, made a lot of money selling phony Gucci purses at the trade meet. That I never thought we'd appear on television in 150 nations and 38 languages at the time of the show's preparing to launch its 15th season. Even nevertheless, Corey emphasized that he was becoming proficient at replacing his father, whose life experiences aided the business's reach incredible heights. However, this change may not be as simple. Many viewers had hoped for one on the program. Corey and his father frequently argue because to their divergent views regarding antiquities and the proper way to buy in the show's previous episodes. Fans also witnessed these altercations involving his Harrison, the elderly grandfather. Aside from debates regarding the actual products, concerns existed regarding Corey's involvement in the store, and the fallout from this exchanges was that Rick thought his son still needed to establish himself, and Corey felt and continues to feel like his dad harshly treats him. But this wasn't the only when the son and father. Corey's relationship would be put to the test, being referred to as Pawn Star's obese dude during an extended period of time at his maximum weight. Big H.O.'s weighed 400 pounds. But this quickly started to have an impact on his health, and the physician needed to put him on preventive. 2010 saw the discovery of diabetic treatment. Discovered that there was a chance of developing diabetes served as a wake-up call. Corey had to turn his life around, thus he immediately sought assistance, and Corey mentioned, "I'm actually driving home after making the decision. Leave the physician's office, rather alarmed out of it, and I can see the location where they perform lap band operations, and I simply came in and inquired about the requirements, for I didn't have much after having the procedure. When I had money, I took out 4 credit cards, then place it on that. You see, his procedure was completed effectively, and Bigos lost 400 pounds to 200 pounds following the gastric band process. Corey lost 50 pounds in the 6 weeks following surgery. He had lost by the end of the first year an additional 100 pounds, and the change was so astounding. After beginning in the process of losing weight, he kept getting his band examined monthly and had a completely distinct, "I could never return to that lifestyle," he added. "Considering how much I weighed, it made me recognize what I consumed, how I consumed it, and what I ate to myself, and it was an amazing moment." Began eating healthily, and he claimed to be drinking the appropriate things. Could only consume a small amount of food at this time, and ensured that it emphasized the positive aspects rather than consequently. He also began working out, declaring that, "I'm genuinely forward to see. I currently box 12 rounds a day, 5 days a week, in the gym. I loved for a week when I was a teenager snowboarding, but I was too large in my 20s. In order to secure my feet in the boards, being able to touch my toes at last made me recognize that I could snowboard once more. Therefore, I went out right away and grabbed new gear." Corey experienced a frightening incident that year. Accident on a motorcycle that required him to leap off his bike, is traveling at 40 miles per hour to prevent a collision. Crash on the way to get supplies. Corey's bike broke during his birthday celebration, causing it to spin out rather than the hospital immediately he returned to afterwards. He underwent surgery on his, manually obtaining 2 plates and 8 screws. He saw himself to be one who was extremely fortunate to be alive in spite of his experience of almost dying, and they were only a handful of the sadly things happened to Corey, and at least he made it through that mishap. The subsequent calamities were more difficult to get rid of. Corey's grandfather, an elderly man, was highly regarded for initiating the family business in 1989 and putting forth a lot of effort to strengthen it before introducing Rick, Corey's father, followed by Corey on June 25, 2018. However, elderly man Harrison died at age 77 as a result of his condition, Parkinson's disease. Many were surprised because it wasn't widely. Fans of the program are aware that Corey's father Rick informed everyone about his father's passing, with more than 245,000 fans on. He stated on Instagram that he lived an extremely busy existence. And throughout history, the television program Pawn Stars had impacted the lives of individuals worldwide, instructing them how important it is to love your family, humor, and work. I lost a friend today, a teacher, a parent, and a ton of love on the other side. Corey, your father sees you. Also expressed gratitude to his grandfather for not only the patriarch of his family, but also being a friend is obviously their priority. Together on Pawn and at the pawn store for Corey, stars were very important, and during this time, he also requested privacy and hoped that fans would honor his request. According to the History Channel, they were extremely depressed about the passing of their friend Richard Harrison. The elderly man they mentioned was an important family member, and they will miss the Pawn Stars crew. His insight and integrity in their ideas are present with the Harrisons during this. The challenging period was not enough short for Corey due to the fact that Rick Corey, like his father, was discovering it's really challenging in relationships. Karina, his second wife, had to be divorced. In September 2018, Kiki Harrison was merely a few months following his grandfather's funeral. He on May 26, 2017, Kina and I got married. The couple's divorce was caused due to their hectic job schedules and because there was no animosity between the two, had a cordial separation. Divorced couple, but they did welcome Richard Benjamin Harrison, their son. In the circulating rumor in October 2018 was that the pair had reconciled, and fans couldn't blame Corey for posting an image of him kissing an unidentified woman who had a striking resemblance to his ex-wife. Karina's article was the catalyst for fans to begin the initial rumors, followed by the reality that Karina hadn't altered her. Harrison's last name was another. The reason the myth persisted was because Corey had 2015 saw his first divorce following his marriage. Charlene, his high school love, in 2009. Little else is known. Charlene, although she collaborated with Corey when they visit the gold and silver pawn shop, were wed, but the separations were nothing in contrast to the catastrophe that the Harrison family would go through at once more. Around 6 years following Corey's second divorce, but before that, in September, Corey was detained in Las Vegas on the 8th of 2023 because he was observed driving by a police officer. His white Ford pickup truck was scattered throughout the road in Charleston. Close to Main Street, the police saw Corey's automobile on the boulevard. Had an alcoholic scent, and he believed he was Corey, who had gone to Vegas intoxicated from Minnesota, where he was that day. America was requested to shoot Pawn Stars. In order to complete a field sobriety test that police transported him to the Las Vegas when he failed. Because of the breathalyzer, Vegas City Jail was shattered at the jail, therefore he had to offer a blood sample. The test findings are obtained from the sample weren't made public right away, so he needed to be placed under arrest on suspicion of drunk driving, and the police, when the results were released, was correct. Corey was intoxicated and ended up being accused of operating a vehicle under the influence. The television personality told the Las Vegas newspaper that he desired to hire a lawyer to protect himself. He said, "I will not say screw Metro. It should be legal to drive after drinking. I'm not trying to be that," Harrison replied. "I'm the one who, nevertheless, when I get, I'm going to fight after getting punched in the face." He added that he just had one drink 7 hours before to his trip to Vegas being stopped, and he had nothing more booze. With the arrival of Corey, stated that his vehicle has a tendency to veer to the a little and gave an explanation for why he didn't. He claimed to perform well on the sobriety test, was shaky because of a shin infection, and he thought he had trouble maintaining his equilibrium due to the uneven road where he said that he was pulled over. As the sobriety test was being carried out, the police officers had to answer a phone in an emergency. Corey remarks regarding his mental state when his police cars sped by him, they said was challenging to maintain balance on one leg compared to the one he shared with supporters, that his license was not revoked. Due to the events of that year in January 2024, Corey later lost his sadly brother. Adam Harrison passed away. Departed as a spokesperson at the age of 39. Clark County, Nevada person confirmed that the 39-year-old passed away due to a methamphetamine overdose with fentanyl. According to the county's medical examiner, the death was unintentionally. At the motel he was remaining had become concerned when they saw him for the first time since January 17th, so the landlord was informed, and they entered. An additional key to Adam's room was discovered. He was unresponsive, so I called right away. Corey, the police officer, was furious about the unexpected loss of his sibling, sharing an image of them as children on. He posted a quotation on Instagram that reads, "I'll always Harrison, I love you, Bubba," on January 19th. Shared a picture of Adam and himself at a restaurant. He posted on Instagram, "I adore you, and you'll always be in my heart." Laura, Adam's heartbroken emoji Hervich, the family's spokesperson, stated Adam passed away on January 22nd due to she claimed that we are consuming too much fentanyl. Deeply saddened by Adam's passing, kindly provide us room while we mourn him. Rick. Additionally, Corey and Adam's father discussed the nation's fentanyl dilemma, stating that it need further treatment. Following, Rick sent a heartfelt note regarding his many people expressed their compassion for son Adam. Even Donald Trump Jr., the former president, commented, "I'm truly sorry, man." Despite Adam Harrison did not play for Pawn Stars, worked at Gold and Silver. Allegedly prior to working as a plumber, Corey had claimed that Adam had no actual desire to be. Evidently, Corey and the show's The Harrison Family as a whole had to invest some months of sadness for Adam. But this was occurring. There were reports that Corey had a serious health scare. According to some, others thought it was a stroke. Really serious health problem. The reality is there is no concrete evidence to support the even discuss Corey's health scare. Despite the fact that there are rumors regarding his treatment of Corey or any other Harrison family members has not yet validated or confirmed these asserts that Corey has experienced numerous transformations, significant challenges recently, but he's quite. His father Rick is very much alive, and Chumley, his friend, starred in Pawn. Together, the stars of Do America Season 2 and apart than working hard at there are rumors about a project at the Pawn business. Working on a new season today, Corey's life story reveals a man who is above the glamour of TV fame, has successfully negotiated major individual hardships and tragedies, from dealing with health issues and a close deadly mishap to bear the suffering of several losses in his family as well as his own. Corey's legal issues, extraordinary tenacity. Pawn Stars may have made Corey a reality for countless admirers. However, they have been genuinely impacted by the TV personality's resilience in the face of catastrophes, notwithstanding his constant hope to the gold and silver pawn shop's captain, similar to what his grandfather and father have completed. There's no question that people would keep being reminded of the real big whore's definition of the man.